สวัสดีครับขอต้อนรับท่านผู้ชมทุกท่านเข้าสู่รายการเสียงไทยเพื่อเสรีภาพของคนไทยนะครับกรณีที่ตำรวจและทหารไทยจำนวนกว่า20นายนะครับเข้าตรวจค้นบ้านพักภรรยาของนายแอนดรูว์แมคโกโกมาเชลนะครับสื่อมวลชนชาวอังกฤษอดีตนักข่าวรอยเตอร์ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับเมื่อวันที่22กรกฎาคมที่ผ่านมาที่เมืองไทยนั้นหลังจากที่นายแอนดรูว์นั้นได้โพสต์ภาพนะครับลงใน Facebook ของเขาซึ่งเป็นภาพที่ทางรัฐบาลไทยนั้นเชื่อว่าเป็นภาพตัดต่อนะครับของสมเด็จพระบรมโอรสาธิราชสยามกุฎราชกุมารซึ่งถือเป็นการสร้างความเสื่อมเสียพระเกียรติยศอย่างยิ่งนะครับหลังจากภรรยาของนายแอนดรูว์ถูกควบคุมตัวเป็นเวลา6ชั่วโมงนะครับเพื่อที่จะซักถามค้นหาพยานหลักฐานว่ามีส่วนเกี่ยวข้องกับการกระทำของนายแอนดรูว์หรือไม่นะครับหลังจากนั้นทั้งภรรยาและลูกวัย3 ขวบของนายแอนดรูว์นั้นก็ถูกปล่อยตัวออกมานะครับจากนั้นทั้งคู่ก็เดินทางไปยังประเทศสกอตแลนด์แล้วในทันทีนะครับซึ่งเป็นถิ่นพำนักของนายแอนดรูว์นะครับซึ่งขณะนี้ทั้งภรรยาและลูกของนายแอนดรูว์นั้นก็เดินทางไปยังสกอตแลนด์แล้วอย่างปลอดภัยนะครับเรื่องนี้กลายเป็นข่าวใหญ่โตในเกือบทุกสำนักข่าวทั่วโลกนะครับซึ่งก็เป็นเรื่องที่ต่างประเทศให้ความสนใจค่อนข้างมากเราจะพูดคุยเรื่องนี้นะครับว่าเรื่องของภาพที่เป็นภาพทำให้เสื่อมเสียพระเกียรตินั้นมีที่มาอย่างไรและทำไมแอนดรูว์แมคโกโกจึงนำภาพนี้มาโพสต์ใน Facebook ของเขานะครับจะพูดคุยกับคุณแอนดรูว์แมคโกโกมาเชลนะครับผ่านทางสกายนะครับสวัสดีครับ Hi
สวัสดีครับ
ครับ Thank you for being with me again
Yeah, sure. It's welcome. Good to talk to you. How are you?
Yeah. First of all, I want to say sorry about the terrible thing that happened to your family.
Okay. Yes, I mean, thanks for your kind words. One of the good things about what happened was the amazing support that we got from many people in Thailand after they saw my wife being detained by police. And not just from, not just from pro-democracy people, even a lot of royalists are also sending us support, and they said it was wrong for the police to target my wife. So I just want to thank everybody that sent their support. As you know, my wife was eventually released, and she arrived safely back in Edinburgh a few hours ago.
Yeah. How you get that picture and then you post on your Facebook? How?
Well, the controversial pictures initially that led to the police raid were published in a German newspaper called Bild. And they had nothing to do with me at all. But because everybody knows that I'm interested in the Thai monarchy and that I publish stuff on my Facebook and social media, and also people know that I'm willing to publish things that other people can't publish because I don't mind breaking Article 112. So somebody contacted me early on a Thursday morning. I was in Singapore at that stage and about to travel to Hong Kong. So somebody contacted me and said, have you seen this story in Bild newspaper? So I had a look. I was very interested. I think like many of us who saw the photographs, I was quite surprised. There's no reason why the prince can't dress as he likes, but it was just surprising to see him looking like that. So I shared the photographs from Bild, and I put a caption that said, this is from German newspaper Bild. I put a link back to the original article. So I think it should have been clear that I had nothing to do with the photographs. I was only sharing them.
Someone sent to you, or maybe send the picture or send the newspaper?
Somebody just sent me a message with the URL, with a link to see.
On the link of the picture and the newspaper.
Yeah, but it's worth noting that since all this happened, because there's been so much interest in what happened in Thailand, so somebody has sent me another photograph of the Crown Prince, also with similar clothes and similar tattoos, taken in a shopping mall in Munich. So I shared that last night.
Right.
And that was, so I was the first person to share that one. I didn't take it, but a source gave it to me.
Right.
But the photographs that caused all the trouble back, on Friday when police raided my wife's house, those are from a German newspaper called Bild. And after what happened, Bild has made a statement where they've said openly that the pictures are genuine and nothing to do with me. And any accusation that I was involved in faking them or whatever is completely wrong.
So somebody that you say that is a Thai people or
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of sources. I think it was actually a German who sent me the link
oh
initially, just because they saw it on Built and they knew I would be
right
interested, so they alerted me to it.
okay
And so yeah, I shared the link. But of course, I wasn't the only one to share it. I mean,
right
many people who saw these photographs
from
were surprised and shared it also.
from the first time when you saw that picture, the first thought that when you saw that picture, what do you think? Do you think this is fake or the real?
I was confident it was real from the start because I know Bild. It's a tabloid newspaper. It's quite a sensationalist newspaper. But
Right.
in Germany, there's no tradition of media publishing fake photographs like that could cause real diplomatic problems. Um, and just the way the photographs were taken, it was clearly taken by a paparazzi photographer.
Yeah.
Um, and it was just so strange, what the Crown Prince was wearing, that it seemed obvious it wasn't somebody faking it. It was so strange that it was the kind of thing you couldn't really make it up. And Bild has no specific reason to be against the Thai monarchy either. So I was confident that the pictures were genuine from the start. And
I see.
Bild has come out and insisted they are genuine. And I don't think anybody who understands how the newspaper works and also
Yeah.
who understands photographs and Photoshop, I don't think anybody who knows about that would say the photographs are fake. It's only some Thai royalists who are
Yes.
saying it's fake because they're embarrassed about the photographs, so they're trying to claim it's fake.
So Thai police claiming that in the official statement that said picture are fake. Thai police said not only you to do this, and the Thai police said that they have like 2 or 30 Thai people are corporate making this fake picture with you. That is true.
No, I mean this is nonsense, but it's really shows the mentality of some people in the police. They believe that everything is a conspiracy, and that everybody is plotting. So they think that me and others are plotting to try to bring down the monarchy. In fact, many people in Thailand and many people outside Thailand, including many Thais, they don't like the monarchy. An even bigger number of people don't like Article 112 and just believe in sharing free information. So on Facebook, on Twitter, there are a lot of people, I'm one of them, and there's other foreigners and Thais who do it. Many of us are sharing information openly, talking to each other, making comments. That's not some secret conspiracy. That's all of us openly discussing the Thai monarchy on Facebook. And in most countries, that would be a completely normal thing to do. The only reason it's not normal in Thailand is because of the lèse-majesté law, Article 112.
Yeah.
So the Thai police can't understand this. They can't understand that it's normal on social media for people to share interesting pictures of our royal families or our leaders and to comment about it. And it doesn't mean we're engaged in some kind of evil conspiracy. We're just discussing interesting subjects on social media, which is perfectly normal.
You got many accusation for the Thai government. The police still believe that you had been hired by Mr. Thaksin Shinawatra. What do you respond for this?
Yeah, I mean that's nonsense. I'm sympathetic towards many of the same things that the red shirt movement wants. I believe that Thailand needs real democracy. I believe it needs freedom of speech and a fair rule of law. And I've said this openly many times, but I've never met Thaksin Shinawatra. I've never been funded by him either. And frankly, I've often criticized him on social media. And even as far back as 2001, when I was working at Reuters, I published an article about Thaksin that was a bit critical of him, and it caused quite a big stir in Thailand. He even threatened he was going to come to Reuters to beat me up, and this was front page news in a lot of Thai newspapers. So the idea that this is being paid for by Thaksin, it's another of these myths that the royalists use to try and protect their position, because they can't understand the simple fact that a lot of people believe in democracy for Thailand, They don't believe that in the 21st century we should still worship a king like a god. And we talk about this openly on social media, and that's perfectly normal. And frankly, the crazy people are the ones who are making these accusations that it's all this kind of mysterious conspiracy and I'm being paid to do it. It's just nonsense.
Right now, the German newspaper came to speak out and say that picture is real, right? What they say?
That's correct. I mean, they've been actually very, very helpful to me because I think they saw that my wife was being detained on these crazy allegations that I was involved in faking this picture. So there was two parts to their statement, and it came from a spokesman for a company called Axel Springer, which is the company that owns Bild newspaper.
Yeah.
And first of all, they said, we can assure you that the photographs are genuine. And, that's when a company like Bild in Germany says that, you can be sure it's true, because if it was ever exposed that they were lying and the photos were fake, it would be a huge scandal for them. They could be sued. So, so they're insisting the photographs are genuine, which is right. And the second part of their statement was just to say that I have, Andrew Marshall, me, had nothing to do with, producing the photos, faking them. I just shared them, which is what I've been saying all along. So, they wanted to make clear there was no reason at all to detain my wife over this, or even detain me, because all I was doing was sharing photographs that had been put online by the newspaper.
Back to the picture again. Do you think how old is that? For how many years, and came out with that picture?
As far as I can tell, because I'm still investigating these pictures.
Right.
But I last night I also shared another photograph.
Yeah. So another photograph came from
a mall.
I'm sorry.
A mall. Yes.
I'm sorry. Another photograph that came from the same source or from the Germany newspaper?
No, the photograph I shared last night came from a source in Munich.
Okay.
Because what happened to me caused so much publicity all around the world, or what happened to my wife, I should say, because it caused so much publicity around the world. A lot of people contacted me, and they wanted to offer their support and so on. And somebody in Germany saw the controversy over what had happened. They had been in a shopping mall about 3 weeks ago in Munich, and had seen the Thai crown prince wearing a very tiny little T-shirt, showing off his middle, and he was covered in tattoos. So this person took a picture on their mobile phone. I believe they may also have taken some video that may be published quite soon also. But the video hasn't been published yet, but the photo is published. Or the photo was sent to me, and I published it last night.
Okay.
So I spoke to this source to ask when they took the photograph. They told me it was about 3 weeks ago in Munich. And this fits with what else we know, because we know the Crown Prince was in Munich around this time, and we know he bought a very large property in Germany at the time. He bought a very large house for about 10 million euros. So from everything we know, the photographs are about, and this is the same for the photographs in the German newspaper, it's about 3 weeks old. It was earlier in July this year. That's when they were taken.
That picture, two pictures that you have been released, if those picture is true, what do you think? Why the Crown Prince was wearing that kind of shirt, or we call crop top, right? And had a tattoo. What do you think?
Sure,
why he doing this?
Another strange part of the story is that if you look at the photograph from the shopping mall I shared yesterday, the tattoos are not the same as the ones in the photographs from Munich airport.
Right. But not permanent tattoo, right? Not permanent tattoo.
So this makes me suggest, and many people have been suggesting this previously, and I think the photograph I shared yesterday proves it. It's not permanent tattoos. They're just transfers. It's fun tattoos. You can buy them in a lot of different places, and it makes it look as if you've got a full body tattoo, but it washes off. So, it seems to me that the Crown Prince was having fun. I mean, he's a very, very wealthy man. He travels around Europe, a lot of the time when he's not on royal duties, he's able to do what he behave whatever however he likes.
Yeah.
And I'd assume that he thought it was funny or would be good fun to have these, fake tattoos and to dress in these odd clothes. And frankly, that's not a crime.
Yes,
it's not a crime for the Crown Prince to want to do that. But I think it shocks people in Thailand because they expect certain behavior from their royal family. On the other hand, the prince had no idea that somebody would take photographs. I think he expected that in Germany he would have privacy because, in general, the media leave him alone in Germany, the German media. So I guess, I don't know the reason why he was doing this, but it seems to me he was having fun. He was using temporary tattoos, wearing quite funny clothes, and he didn't expect that he would be photographed.
Yeah, but many Thai people say because the Thai prince or the crown prince of Thailand, he's a human, so he can enjoy himself and having fun or having his own style. Yeah, so that is true. But that
exactly,
you say,
I agree with that. I mean, I think the problem of Thailand with the Thai monarchy is that too many people treat them like gods, and they don't accept that these people are human beings, and like all human beings, they sometimes do slightly crazy things. And they sometimes do bad things. All humans have many flaws and make mistakes. And the same is true for the Thai royals. But, Thais are not allowed to think this way because Thais are supposed to, believe that the king can never make a mistake and the royal family are all perfect. And of course they're not. So, I imagine that all his life, the Crown Prince has grown up with this terrible pressure to always act as if he's perfect, to never show that he's just a normal human being. And I think one of the reasons for some of his behavior, including dressing in fake tattoos and odd clothes, is probably it's a reaction to that kind of pressure. If somebody tries to force you all the time to never show your human side, of course you're going to rebel against that, and you're going to want to just let your hair down sometimes and have some fun.
Right. So what do you think? Maybe he tried to make the Thai people know about him, he's a human, or maybe just make the people learn about he's not a god or thing, but he's a human, so that why just let him do by himself and making fun or become himself.
I don't think he was sending a deliberate message because I suspect he had no idea that these photographs would ever emerge. So, rather, it's possible, of course, that this was all a plan from him. But I think it's quite unlikely. And I think it's more likely that he just thought that nobody would take a photograph because usually the airport is reasonably secure, and he just thought he could behave like this in Germany, and he probably thought that in Germany he's away from Thailand, he can relax, he can have some fun. This is one of the reasons I think he's lived so much time in Germany. It's just to be away from, the constant scrutiny that you would get in Bangkok. So yeah, that's my assumption, is that he just didn't realize that in the 21st century, a photographer might always be around, or somebody with a smartphone could always be around. So photographs might leak, even if you're, thousands of miles away from Thailand.
Right. Right. Just back to the situation that your family had been faced in a couple of days. Did your wife tell you about what's going on when 20 policemen came to her house and searching for evidence?
She phoned me just when they all arrived, and because soon after they arrived, of course, they took her phone away and she wasn't able to communicate with me anymore. But she was able to contact me as they were arriving, just to tell me what was happening and ask for some help. Really, she just wanted us to try and get a lawyer to the house and to try and get some people that we trust to the house, because what we were worried about was that she might be mistreated, her family might be mistreated they could have planted some evidence to try and defame her. So we wanted, other observers to be there for her safety. So yeah, I spoke to her for about 2 minutes as the raid was beginning, and then I didn't speak to her until after she was, or when she was nearly released later in the day.
Right. So did your wife tell you about what kind of question that the policeman questioned her?
I haven't spoken to her in huge detail yet, because she only got back to Scotland a few hours ago. And I'm actually in Hong Kong, so we haven't had a chance yet to discuss it in detail. But as far as I know, the questions of the police were all focusing on whether she helps my journalism, whether she communicates with me and provides anti-monarchist information to me. It's the police obsession with some kind of conspiracy that we're all conspiring. But look, my wife, I've always known that my work could put my wife and her family in danger. It's always one of my biggest worries. When I first resigned from Reuters back in 2011 and published Thai Story and committed lèse-majesté for the first time,
yes,
I was single back then. And so I only had to worry about my own safety. But since then, I've got married. We have our son, Charlie.
Yes.
So, this is a concern. And I've always known it could be dangerous for my wife.
Yeah.
So since the coup in May 2014, she never went back to Thailand for nearly 2 years, or for 2 years. We just thought it was too dangerous for her to risk it.
Yes,
even though she's committed no crime. And has never been charged with any crime. We just thought, under the junta, it's too dangerous. But, my wife, she hadn't seen her parents for a long time. Our son, Charlie, we want him to grow up knowing about Thailand and learning Thai, as well as learning English. We want him to see his Thai side of his heritage as well. So we made a lot of checks a few months ago to see if it was safe for Ploy to go back. We decided that it probably was safe because we thought that the junta was unlikely to harass her when they know she's done nothing wrong. Because the other point is that because I know the risks for her, I've never involved her in my journalism. So if I need to translate something about the monarchy to put it on my Facebook page, if I need to translate it into Thai, I'll never ask my wife. I'll always put a request on Facebook. And sometimes people say, well, why don't you just ask your wife? I say, well, look, I want to keep her separate from my journalism because it could put her at risk. So she's never been part of my journalism. And, to be honest, she doesn't even necessarily agree with all my views. She has her own views on Thai politics. And I never expected that me and my wife should agree on anything, on everything, but we respect each other. So, I respect that she has her views on Thailand. She respects that I have my views, and that's fine. But she's never assisted my journalism. She's not involved in, getting secret information to me or defaming the monarchy or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think, the police discovered this quite quickly as they questioned her. They found no evidence at all that she was involved in anything illegal. And, luckily they released her quite quickly by early afternoon on Friday. They released her, which was sooner than I expected, and I was very happy when that happened.
Did your wife try to stop you to criticize Thai monarchy?
Me and my wife, we never tell each other what to do. We accept that we have different views. Because she's a sensible person and she's concerned about her son. Sometimes she says to me, just tone it down a little bit. You don't always have to go so far. And when she says things like that to me, I listen because she's right. Sometimes I do need my wife to say to me, you don't have to be so fighting all the time. Sometimes you can do it in a different way, a less confrontational way. So yeah, she sometimes gives me advice, and I listen. And so I think what she said was honest when she was speaking to Thai police. Sometimes she advises me on what to do. Sometimes I listen, but she knows that I'm never going to stop being a journalist because that's who I am. And she's a journalist too. She worked for Reuters and NBC for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, let's put it this way: my wife doesn't support everything I do. She supports me because she's my wife. She doesn't always agree with everything I do, and sometimes she tells me that, and I think that's a sign of a good marriage.
Yeah. So, what is making you become anti-Thai monarchy?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm anti-Thai king or anti-Thai monarchy. You know, I feel very sorry for the king in many ways. I think he's had a tragic life, and even people like the Crown Prince and many of the royal family, I think they grew up in such strange circumstances that I'm not surprised that many of them have turned out the way they are. I do think that in the 21st century, it's inappropriate to have monarchies, especially monarchies that are still politically active. But I wasn't say I was really anti-monarchy, but to me, what made me focus on this was the lèse-majesté law in Article 112, because I'm a journalist. I've been a journalist for more than 20 years, and when somebody says to me, "Oh, you're not allowed to report something," I'm going to want to report it, especially when it's true. If somebody says, "Well, we know this is true, but you can't say it," that's I think would provoke any journalist. So the reason I started focusing on Thailand was, back in around 2008, it really became clear that you can't understand the Thai political conflict without discussing the role of the monarchy in society, because the conflict is not only about the monarchy, but the monarchy is a important part of the conflict. And if you really want to understand the past 10 years in Thailand, you have to be able to discuss the monarchy freely. But because of Article 112, nobody does. So I became really frustrated when I was still working for Reuters, because I felt my job at Reuters was to try to explain to the world what's happening in Thailand. But because Reuters was refusing to really mention the monarchy, I felt I wasn't able to do my job of explaining to the world what was happening. And I even tried to say to Reuters, well, look, if you don't want to break the law, at least in every story, you should say at the top of the story, this article was written under, Thai restrictions, because of the lèse-majesté law. So we haven't been able to give a full, account of what's going on. Even just to tell our readers that, they are self-censoring themselves. But Reuters refused to do that. So I just felt we're being dishonest as journalists. We're not able to tell the story of what's happening in Thailand. We can't tell the full story because of the lèse-majesté law. But we're not admitting that. So that was really what got me started down this path. I thought somebody has to start breaking the lèse-majesté law. A foreign journalist should start breaking the lèse-majesté law and writing the facts without fear. I knew it meant I couldn't go back to Thailand, and I had to leave my job at Reuters also. But I thought it was positive, because I thought if Thailand really wants to make progress in the 21st century, we have to have freedom of speech, we have to have democracy, we have to have the fair rule of law, and all of that is based on just breaking down the lèse-majesté law and being able to talk honestly about everything. So I think if I can do something useful for Thailand, the most useful thing I can do is try to undermine the lèse-majesté law and make it more possible to debate and discuss all issues. So that's what motivates me. I've been doing it for 5 years now. It's not because I hate the monarchy. It's because I love democracy and I believe in freedom of speech.
Yeah, I see. Thai police begging you to stop anti-Thai monarchy. Can you accept that? So no.
Well, I understand that my work distresses some people, and a lot of nice people are really upset by my work. And of course, I feel, I'm sorry about that. I don't want to upset people and make people sad.
Yeah.
But I think they need to learn. I think they've been conditioned to believe that, it's a terrible thing when people are speaking freely about everything. They've they've been taught to be afraid of freedom of speech, where I think freedom of speech is a very positive thing, and especially for ordinary people, freedom of speech is what protects us from the powerful and stops them from, being corrupt. It stops them from exploiting us. So, when people are offended by my work and really offended and they ask me to stop, I don't want to laugh at them. I don't want to be rude to them. I want to just ask them to try and understand what it is that I'm doing. I'm not just trying to make jokes about the Thai royal family. I'm not trying to, attack Thailand. And this is another thing. A lot of people think I hate Thailand, and I hate the Thais, and that's why I'm doing this. Obviously the opposite is true. I'm doing something that I think is good for Thailand, and I've had to lose quite a lot to do it. I had to give up my job. I can't go back to Thailand. I faced a lot of abuse, a lot of problems. My wife just got detained, and which was a terrible worry. So, I wouldn't put up with all of that if I hated Thailand. The reason I'm still doing this is because I love Thailand, and I want to try and do something good, and that's why I do it.
So you try to criticize Thai monarchy because you love Thailand, right? That is the conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even say it. I'm criticizing the Thai monarchy always. I'm saying I'm trying to report the truth. Because this is the problem in Thailand. Because people are told this fantasy or this fairy tale that the king does nothing wrong and he's so wise and he's like this godless figure, like a god, which is just a fantasy. So if I say, well, no, he's just a human being. He's done some good things in his life. He's done some bad things. He's made some mistakes. People then say, "Oh, you're criticizing him." Well, I don't think I'm criticizing. I just think I'm trying to restore some reality to this debate, where it has been, because of ultra royalism, it has completely lost sight of reality. And I'm not going out to criticize them. I'm just saying, they're human. They make a lot of mistakes.
Right.
And frankly, the palace has not been good for democracy over the century. This myth that King Bhumibol had brought Thailand to democracy, we've seen that's nonsense. The palace and the royal family have been one of the main reasons why Thai democracy has not been able to flourish.
Right.
And I think that's a historical fact, not necessarily a criticism.
What about your wife? She still respect the Thai monarchy or the same feeling with you? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't want to speak for my wife. She can speak for herself. But I think, like a lot of Thais, her views have evolved a lot, especially in the past 10 years. So, she talks about when she was a schoolgirl. She had this amazing love for the monarchy, and she used to imagine that, if she ever saw an assassin shooting a bullet at the king, she was going to try and jump in front of the bullet, so she would be shot instead, because she thought, she loved the king so much, she was willing to die for him. And I think that's quite common in Thailand. Over the years, her views have changed, and one of the reasons I really respect my wife is that, she'll always think for herself. So once she started seeing some of the information that, maybe the royal family is not so perfect, she did change her views, and she's got a very realistic view of the royal family. But I don't think it'd be fair for me to say what she thinks. She can say it herself, but she doesn't agree with everything I say. She doesn't agree with all my tactics. And I think maybe she wishes that I would maybe find something else to spend my time on, because I've been doing it for 5 years, and I think maybe she'd like a break from me, challenging the Thai monarchy and pushing for freedom of speech in Thailand so much. But she's formed very sensible ideas about the Thai monarchy, but she's a much more private person than me. She doesn't believe in broadcasting her views to everybody. She believes in really keeping her views to herself, I think.
Right.